not simply Harinam, but this Harinam that is brought by Gauranga is Premanama Sankirtana. And again, Sankirtana is, yes, it can mean congregational chanting, all the devotees coming together and singing together, but it also means Sankirtana, chanting with our whole self. So if we have that firm faith that Harinama Sankirtana brought by Gauranga is the solution for anything and everything that we are facing now, material or spiritual, and is the solution for anything that we need in the future. So that kind of firm faith in the Harinam, taking the shelter of Harinam, and again, this is not simply Harinam. Harinam that is brought by Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Premanama. So if we are taking complete shelter of that Premanama Sankirtana brought by Gauranga Mahaprabhu, it is equal to taking shelter of the fountainhead. Say, from the fountainhead, the water has to come out. All the drops of water, let the drops of water that comes out, the spring of water that comes out, everything has to come from the fountainhead. So if we have the faith that if we fix the fountainhead, we will have the water flowing out. If we have the faith that if we take the shelter of the Harinama, Premanama Sankirtana brought by Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and with that faith, and in the guidance given by the Acharyas, when we start to notice the change happening, that is the greatest auspiciousness that can happen in Bhakti, in Vaidhi Bhakti. Because that will be the transition from Vaidhi Bhakti to the spontaneous Bhakti. When our faith in serving the Harinama, Premanama Sankirtan brought by Gauranga happens, then that will take us to a different realm in Bhakti, from Vaidhi to spontaneous Raganuga. So this is the most important thing in all the Angas of Bhakti, in the whole practice of Bhakti. The key point is a strong desire to attain Prema Bhakti. That's why in the Nectar of Instruction also, many instructions are given, but the key point is Sato Vritti, association of saintly devotees. Why do we want to associate with them? Not just because they can speak so very well, not just because they know so much of Shastra, not just because they are very nice, and not just because they have a lot of popularity, and not just because they know a lot of shlokas, not just because of any of these things. The most precious one that a sadhu would carry is, by definition, Sharanagata Sadhu Lakshana, the dependence on Krishna, loving dependence on Krishna. That is the most precious gem that these Sharanagata Bhaktas carry, these Premi Bhaktas carry. So, if we are able to take that kind of association and get the inspiration, guidance, and instruction from these Sharanagata Premi Bhaktas, then everything, rest of them, will slowly fall in place. When we say fall in place, of course, we are having a knowledge of what to do in devotional service and what is better to avoid in devotional service. That knowledge is there for us. But for that knowledge to come out as practice, we have to have a realization and inspiration That part is provided by these acharyas, Sharanagata Bhaktas, Premi Bhaktas. We do not know the language of this loving devotional service. We do not have inspiration to do that because we are so much attached outside and we are pulled so much outside and we are so weak inside. So how can we get to this desired result of Krishna Prema unless we strongly hold on to somebody who has it? So that is the purpose served. By the Sharanagata Bhaktas, all the purpose is served, but especially the emphasis, the inspiration, the direction, and the guidance from these Sharanagata Bhaktas. And with that inspiration and strength that we receive from these acharyas, then whatever do's that are needed for bhakti, we will be able to do it easily. Whatever don'ts are there in bhakti, we will not feel like doing those don'ts anyway. So that is the potency of these acharyas. If we do not give that emphasis for this anga in bhakti, that is satovritti, we will tend to depend only on our individual efforts. And then what happens? At the most, we may be able to come out of ignorance and passion and may be able to come to the platform of goodness if it is only on our efforts. Even in bhakti in the mode of goodness, that's it. We can get struck there. But that is only Vaidhi Bhakti. And there is no way to get to the spontaneous bhakti unless we associate with this spontaneous bhaktas. Yeah. Okay. So that's the important thing. We have to set our GPS address right. Our address, to go address, is this destination, Krishna Prema. Anything less than that, we will just stop there. At least if we feed our address there, then somehow or other, we will try to get there, find out what is needed to get there, and we will get there. So that we have to be clear and vigilant. Okay, thank you. And then, yes, we'll move on to the third point, please.
Hare Krishna. I do not find the strength to carry on alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hari. Please bless me by giving me just one drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Right, thank you. And this is, I don't know what to say. Say there is a treasure chest. Huh? We know there is so much of treasure in the chest. But we have to have a key to open it. This is the key. We are all given Harinam. We are all chanting. We are doing our best. Sometimes we may think we are doing our best, and sometimes we are sincerely doing our best. But this is the key to open the treasure chest. Is when we realize that, when we hear from the acharyas that holy name has Rupa Guna Leela, the transcendental realm is actually present in the holy name. And we are sitting here trying to chant. We don't feel a bit about it. We don't feel anything like that. Rather, we are so much troubled and disturbed in the mental chamber, so distracted outside. So when we look at our condition, how distracted and troubled we are, and here it is in front of us, there's this treasure chest, holy name, and we want to open it. So how do we feel? Don't we feel helpless? Don't we feel like, okay, there is treasure chest. If only I could find the key to open the treasure chest. How nice it would be, how wonderful it'd be. We feel like that, right? So that feeling of, I need help, I need that key, please. That feeling will take us to the key. The key here is the mood of our acharyas. What is their mood? Internal mood is dependence on Krishna and so much attachment for Krishna. We don't have the dependence on Krishna and we don't have that attachment. So please bless me by giving me just one drop of faith. This is what we are asking. They have such immense faith in the holy name and they depend on Krishna or the holy name at all times. So if we contemplate on that, if we follow their instructions, especially in regards to the holy name, what are they saying about these offenses of the holy name? Because if only we can avoid the offenses when chanting the holy name, and if only we are able to chant with favorable attitude. Acharyas say we should chant with preeti. So with favorable attitude and without aparadhas. If only we can bring our attention, time and effort in understanding that crucial point in chanting Harinama. Hear what they have to say of how to avoid that aparadhas. What it means to do a niraparada bhajan. What it means to be in niraparada state. If we are able to focus on that, hear more about it, try to understand more about it, and pray to do it. It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, if we are able to do niraparada bhajan, all the offenses that we have committed in the past, all will go away, and all the offenses in the future will go away if we are able to do that niraparada bhajan. So, that faith in the Harinam and how to do that niraparada bhajan. We are praying them here in this song to please give us that faith that you have and give me the understanding of what you are trying to instruct me in regards to the Harinam, Krishna that is present in the holy name. Yeah, and then obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. So when we find the keys, here the keys means the Acharya's instructions, their mood of that deep attachment to Krishna, faith in the holy name, that just the holy name can give all that we need materially and spiritually. That faith and the deep mood of Sharanagati, dependence on Krishna, and Preeti on Krishna. These three things: faith, dependence, and Preeti in Krishna Nama. These three things, Acharyas have it. Those three are the keys. So when that is obtained, then the treasure box of holy name will open. Then we will see, oh, these are just not the names, dry names. These are not just the dry sound waves. There is actually something here. There is actually some substance here. So whatever was said by these acharyas is all true. Whatever was said, whatever is said in Shastra is all true. Essay, if we have a little glimpse, little taste, a droplet of the taste of Harinam, then the rest of the Rupa, Guna, Leela slowly, gradually open on its own accord. But at least from our side, we have to know what is the treasure chest in Bhakti, this Harinama, this Premanama that is brought by Gauranga Mahaprabhu. What are the keys that can open this treasure chest? The keys, the faith in the holy name, the dependence on the holy name, complete shelter, and the preeti for the holy name. Okay, who has that keys? These acharyas. They have the keys. How can I obtain those keys? Pay close attention to what they are saying about how to do Niraparada bhajan. Bhajan without offenses. And that does not include only the 2-hour japa that we do, both inside japa and outside japa. But if we give enough importance, significance to that inside japa, then we will be vigilant outside the japa also. And when we say Niraparada bhajan, it is not just chanting, trying to chant without offenses for whatever time. That's how we can start with. But with gradual association and understanding of these acharyas, they can take us to the depths of what that Niraparada bhajan means. Bhajan is the state of existence throughout the day, not just the 2 hours. When we are in the mood of dependence and we are serving, that is bhajan. When we are serving Harinam, that's Harinam bhajan. And when we are serving in any way we can outside the japa, then that is also spill from the 2-hour bhajan that we have. That is also being in servitude, thinking of Krishna and serving Krishna. So our consciousness has to be transformed to Niraparada. We are not conscious only the 2 hours. We are conscious outside the bhajan also. Rest of the 22 hours, we are conscious beings. So the goal is our consciousness should be transformed to Niraparada. No offenses. Then the preeti for Krishna Nama will be given. So this is the key point in Bhakti, to change our consciousness to Niraparada, to fill it with Krishna Prema. And all we do in Bhakti, all we read in Bhakti, all we hear in Bhakti is to have this transformation of our consciousness from Aparadha to Niraparada, to the holy name. And holy name is Krishna. Krishna is all inclusive. It's not that Krishna is separate and everybody else is separate from Krishna. Krishna is all inclusive. So at all times, we are reciprocating with Krishna. And the goal is that Niraparada bhajan, Niraparada consciousness. So Krishna Prema can be given by Gauranga Mahaprabhu. I will pause here. We meant to go to Sikshashtakam, but somehow these acharyas, songs, their words, their instructions, their mode is so profound and deep. Just could not step over it and move on. I'll pause here, please. And if you have any reflections, Please share.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Mataji, my key points from, sorry, I joined late a little bit, so I missed the first part, but I think the importance of acharyas, the keywords was acharyas, the mood, and especially the focus on the internal, trying to do the internal bhajan, which hopefully you can carry it outside and transform your consciousness with it. So those were some of my key points that I think of to focus a little bit more on those things.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you.
Mataji, my question is, before even doing that, like getting the stage of Niraparada, so anything more like for the devotees who just started recently, right? So is there any steps or anything that would help Mataji to achieve Niraparada?
Yeah. Yeah. First step is to fix that GPS address right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we are starting the day one of Bhakti, the address should be right, Prabhu. The goal should be right. So at least we have to know that that is the goal. That's first thing. Second thing is Satokritti, continue the association. Continue to hear from these acharyas like this. Yeah.
Okay.
And third thing is we shouldn't be shifting the focus and emphasis. Even though we are starting the bhakti now, we should still keep this in the back of the mind that this is the key for the treasure chest. So we shouldn't be going and looking for the key somewhere else. We shouldn't be mistaking. There are many things in bhakti. Bhakti is a world of bhakti. But in this world of bhakti, there are 9 limbs. 64 limbs are there. But in 64 limbs, there are 9 limbs, Navavidha Bhakti. In the Navavidha Bhakti, in this Kali Yuga, Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave us this Harinama. And this Harinama is not just Harinama, but Premanama Sankirtan. So even if we are a neophyte, just coming to know the Bhakti, we have to understand the position of this Harinam that is given to us. Yeah, that's one thing. And the next point is, because we are giving so much of emphasis to the Harinam, because it's the treasure chest, we want to, the 2 hours of time, the japa that we are doing, we should be looking forward to that. All these discussions that we are doing about the Harinam is glorification of the Harinam, right? So all these words should ring in our ears so we can look forward for the japa time every day. That we can do even from the beginning also, Prabhu. Even if they're just joining Bhakti today, and when they come to know about such glorious position of Harinam, that it is a treasure chest, then when they hold the beads, let these words of the Acharyas, instruction of the Acharyas and mood come to us, we contemplate on it, and then look forward to do the bhajan. So that is the key point, Prabhu, even if we are neophyte day one.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And that I would emphasize that point so much, Prabhu. we may just think, okay, this is one of the points. Nay. That is the game changer. We are doing many things in Bhakti, and the treasure chest is here, and we are given this Harinam. So what should be our mood, our contemplation, our thought? We have to invest our thought and contemplation in there so that 2 hours of japa can go on well. And whatever changes that we need to do, Prabhu, during the course of the day, because we are giving such emphasis to doing our japa properly, we will notice that we have to make some changes during the day, either in the schedule or with the interaction with the people, or whatever we hear or whatever we see, all those things, we have to be vigilant of what might be distracting us during the course of the day that can come in our way during the japa in the form of thoughts. So being vigilant for the rest of the day, Prabhu, and then making those changes accordingly, so we may be able to do the bhajan with that mood during the japa time.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Like in this rest of the song, the 6 falls: overeating, attachment to material things, inability to follow to regulative principles. All these things, right? Are they right, Prabhu? Don'ts. These are all don'ts, right? And the others are do's: enthusiasm, avoidance of non-devotees, and appreciation of company of devotees. These are do's. So during the day, we have to be vigilant of these do's and don'ts. Try not to do those don'ts. Try to do the do's, like try to be enthusiastic in whatever service is given. Like that. Try to do what is recommended to do. And not do what can be unfavorable to bhakti. That we should be doing the rest of the day. And we should be vigilant of what we are doing. If we are doing that outside the japa, then the inside the japa will be proper. Then the service can go on nicely inside the japa. Yes, Prabhu, that's the extension to your answer. Being vigilant rest of the day. So we do the do's and we don't do the don'ts that are mentioned here in this bhajan.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So if nobody has anything else, we can pause. Or if you have a word to take home, you can say. All right. Okay. We'll pause here. Harinam Sankirtan ki jaya. Acharya Devi ki jaya. Srila Prabhupada ki jaya. Samavita Bhakta Vrinda ki jaya. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Acharya Devi.